In the words of Mark Norman, we're back. This Critique-Opolis is going to be a little... I don't even know how I would... I don't want to say it's a split conversation, because I know I use that verbiage a lot. I did a mind map on things happening in the dailies, particularly with the writer's strike, or not the writer's strike, the stark decline in writing jobs in Hollywood. And I saw that picture of that nitwit Katy Perry in space, and it just enraged me. And so, I went down the rabbit hole of that Blue Origin space flight with those 5 or 6 nitwits who went up into space pretending to be astronauts. And I just, as Louisa knows, I went on a tear. I got really, really irritated with that.
Well, one of the ladies is an astronaut or an astronaut engineer.
Okay, good. Solid point. And you know what? I saw the article or an Instagram post about her. What's her name?
Aisha Bo.
Yeah, I believe, don't quote me on this, but it came so close to the Blue Origin flight, I think this is her. I think she was sexually assaulted, like she was on a track to be an astronaut, and then she was sexually assaulted, and then she took up the cause to get legislation for victims of sexual assault, and she got some laws passed.
Okay.
I think this is her.
Oh, wow,
and
cool.
then she went, after like a decade, then she went back to derailed her plans of being an astronaut because of emotionally and mentally traumatic. And then through a lot of therapy and working with victims and trying to get laws on the books for legislation against sexual abusers and sex crimes. Then she goes back to being an astronaut. I think that's her.
Okay.
So I'm not talking about her, especially if she was on track to be a real astronaut. And I know they don't send up NASA flights all the time, but Blue Origin at least gives her I don't have an issue with her being on that flight, but those other idiots.
Yeah.
Look, this is the nice thing about podcasting, is that I don't have to run this through a lawyer. I don't have to run it through, what's that stuff on television? Shows have to put their content through.
Someone has to approve it?
Censors or any of that stuff. I am not a fan of these people, especially that Gayle King coming down and making her comments about just talking out of her ass, quite frankly. She said something in that interview about Blue Origin is trying to do things with getting waste and garbage off our planet and throwing it into space. I'm like, okay, the optics of that are not better. They're trying to move garbage into space instead of actually
I don't know how
cleaning it. I'm like, I don't know how you classify that as being.
I didn't understand how any of that made sense. Just reading that, it didn't even sound good.
I don't even know that that's part of their mission. I can't say what Blue Origin's mission is, but it wouldn't surprise me in the least if she made an op-ed while she was being interviewed to try and say something to cover the fact that she must have realized, God, this doesn't look good for us, as being these 5 or 6 rich bitches who are spending $1 million to go on a space ride. And she took real umbrage with it being called a ride. I'm like, that is exactly what that was. You weren't doing work in space. You were up there for 50. Oh, you know what? I don't know if you heard this. She compared herself to the Apollo 1 astronauts. She's like, when those men went up there, everybody, they were heralded as heroes. I'm like, yeah, because it's the first time anybody was in orbit ever.
She compared.
Yeah, I think to the Apollo 1 astronauts.
So
She's like, oh, it's different because we're women. People aren't taking us seriously. I'm like, that's not why that has nothing to, your gender has nothing to do with why the optics of what you did are being so maligned.
So we're using this notebook LM now. Well, we're using it to
frame our conversation.
Thank you. And one of the features of it is that it makes a short podcast based on your topics. And I enjoy listening to what they have to say. It's not like real people, but anyway, I just enjoy it. And yesterday, I was listening to the one that you created about the Blue Origin flight and the decline of writers in Hollywood. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
And
the drop in employment of writers, like employable writing jobs for this past quarter and year.
Okay. And I did not know, with all the other controversies and things about this Blue Origin flight, that it was 11 minutes. And I'm listening in my apartment, and I'm like, I just like froze, like I just stopped. I was completely speechless by my own self, but like, I did not know that they went up for 11 minutes and came down, or whatever it is. But 11 minutes. I don't know what I thought they did, but
they went up. I don't know where they launched from or anything. They would like, and now bear in mind, people, this isn't a news show, so like you can read about where they launched from and where they landed. Commentaries. But they went up suborbital heights. And they were, I don't know if they made a complete revolution around the planet, but they landed somewhere in the desert in the U.S. And I don't know. It was almost like a proof of concept. You know what it was? Now that I think about this, because they've been testing those rockets out for a while, and they have a couple of proof of concepts, then they have a couple of orbits. They have 5 or 3 or 10 launches that land successfully. I heard a funny Instagram post about this where Jeff Bezos was like, I'm sick of this wife. Let's see if I can get rid of her. I'll put her on one of these flights because it only costs me a nickel for every million I make. I'll put her on this flight just so we can have like a human test flight. And if it doesn't work out, then I don't have to worry. I can move on to the next wife. And I'll take some of her idiot friends with her. So
no words.
Yeah. I think I told you earlier today that I follow South Park, and I know they're on top of this, but I couldn't help. There is a picture circulating throughout the media of Katy Perry holding a daisy as she's weightless in space with this absolute starstruck, idiot, stoned, dipshit, knucklehead face. Ugh. Oh, it just. I wish I was better with the English language to put into more colorful language how much rage that picture invokes in me. I just find it so, and then I can appreciate the fact that some people are not wordsmiths, but did you see her? They're talking to reporters when they land about their reaction to the flight, and Katie is just kind of talking out of her ass, and what did she say? She's like, I'm so filled with love, and I feel the love of the planet. I'm like, you don't know what you're saying. You just, for you, this is no different than riding Superman at Six Flags. But you're on television because the apparatus around this flight makes it obvious to you that this is not so much historic, but a large media event. Yeah,
which she's very...
she's plugged into. So I don't know what she thought that was conveying of her, that her being in orbit above everybody connects her to the planet. I think really what it comes down to is some people are made to some people are made to do a job, like she's made to be a singer.
Yeah, she's made to be a pop star. She's very good at being a pop star.
Yeah, but then to like say inspirational words after being on any kind of
Without any PR people to help her.
Yeah, with no PR people. And I showed you that article yesterday about how she's like all distraught now about everyone's like.
I'm so interested in that. I wish my internet was working so I could read them.
Yeah, we can't access the internet where we're casting from today, but the media is just eviscerating her. And good, glad, happy about it. Not gonna lie.
Which also does suck for her. I understand that to a point, but at the same time, like what you're
doing is like,
and then
it's almost like Blue Origin does this to keep awareness on them as a company, but the fallout, this is like a new version of an ad campaign. That's all it is. And these women are kind of used as pawns, because I'm sure whenever they were organized, like these girls are total nitwits. They're not going to understand the significance of this to us as a company. They're going to get beaten up in the press, but people are going to know what Blue Origin is capable of. Mm-hmm. They don't care about, they're going to make fun of these women because they all have money and they all paid $1 million to be on this flight, and we're going to dress them up in skin-tight suits, make them look like movie astronauts, mm-hmm. shoot them into space, and then have them say on camera that they're astronauts now, with the entire world knowing. None of them went to MIT, none of them were in the Air Force Academy, or went to the Navy, or got 3 doctorate degrees, a bunch of master's degrees. Any of the stuff that's required of people who become test pilots or to actually do work at NASA. Mm-hmm. I would think if I was Jeff Bezos, I'd be like, I don't care that they're dumping on those women. I mean, they're just the fallout. The people know what Blue Origin can do now. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. So mission accomplished for him. Yeah. But Gayle King, for her to say that Blue Origin is going to be able to put garbage in space, I'm like, first of all, that's not true. Second of all, do you have any idea? Like we were just saying before we were recorded, you know how I get all amped up with this. You can talk too. Mm-hmm. The amount of garbage that's produced on this planet every day, mm-hmm. the amount of jet fuel it would take to put 1/10 of that into outer space in one day. There's not enough jet fuel on this planet to do that.
Well, I just think they're going back to all the waste that we've created forever and ever and how long, and then it's not like it stops. It just keeps going. So, I mean, we produce, I don't know, I don't do numbers and things, but tons of waste every day around the world. Every day. Where do they think that that's going to go?
I really think, I can't imagine that Blue Origin is just a private rocket company.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not in waste disposal. Or, I mean, I don't think, I'm no astrophysicist, but I don't think you would use rockets as a way to dispose of waste off planet. I think that I don't even know the numbers or the physics or the behind it, but it makes more sense to try and produce products that are eco-friendly or get somehow, and we don't know how to yet, but considering how much petroleum is in every packaged product, mm-hmm. you have to figure out a way to make those packaged products without petroleum, so when they degrade, they can degrade somewhat safely. But just to put out the idea that our planet is going to take all of its garbage and make the universe its galactic garbage
just dumping
can.
it somewhere else.
Yeah, to be like, how is that well, it's so big. I'm like, that's exactly what people said about the ocean. Like, we don't know where it's going to end up or what, you put enough. Who knows what's going to happen if you start sending stuff into the sun? Like, how is that going to, what's going to come back to us in 50 years in terms of irradiated particles or that impact the atmosphere? We don't know.
Nope.
So, Gail, why don't you just stick to being Oprah's friend and reporting the news on that television show that fewer and fewer people are watching every year? Ugh, so disgusting.
The one positive thing that I will say about this is that we were talking about Aisha Bowe, and Aisha Bowe is from Ann Arbor, Michigan, which is where we are recording and where I live.
And Aisha, this critique is not directed at you at all. You should have probably been the only person on that flight.
And
I would have way more respect for it.
And I just have to say that she went to all the schools that I went to, same elementary school, same middle school, and same high school. So it's very exciting.
Again, no critique of Aisha Bowe. You want to switch to the writers?
Okay, yeah. I got the internet, by the way.
Oh, you did?
Use the Xfinity Connect.
Well, let me try and get connected there, and then
Okay.
you...
Start with
Yeah, you
the
start with it.
discussion. Okay,
Yeah.
let me just open it up here. Because that wasn't something I was very familiar with.
Xfinity.
Xfinity.
Oh, there it is. Mobile? Passport?
It didn't say, just that Xfinity Wi-Fi.
Oh, there it is. I got it. Okay.
But that connected me right away.
Okay, there we go.
Okay. Sorry for the dead air. I'm trying to load things.
Do we have to log on to this?
No, you should just be able to click and sign on.
Okay.
It should just connect for you.
All right. Well, I used a number of different film industry news articles to create this conversation. I'll give you the overviews right now. I want to talk about the film industry stuff, or, oh man, tell me if you can find the...
I have it pulled up, so yeah,
Go
what
ahead.
are you looking for?
I'm just looking for the stuff about the writer's decline.
Okay, well, I'll
Go
start,
ahead.
I guess.
Go ahead.
I'm reading from our notebook LM. So the sources indicate a sharp decline in job opportunities for American TV writers during the 2023-2024 season. According to a report mentioned by the Writers Guild of America, TV writing jobs dropped by 42%, with only 1,819 positions available compared to the 31,000 the previous season. This total is even lower than the 2019-2020 pandemic, which employed 2,700 writers, and it goes on. But the summary is that, or in conclusion, I guess people would say, it's just really the rate of writers' jobs is declining heavily.
Did it say anything about how much of that is attributable to AI, or is it just a downgrade in the number of productions?
That is a good question. I'm not really, let's see.
Yeah, your Xfinity doesn't really be holding. It's not really holding for me, so I'm going to try and go back to the old one.
Okay. There's a lot to go through. I didn't read all this. I'm sorry.
betting it's...
So
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead. You go ahead.
I didn't have anything.
I think this answers your question. It says the steep decline comes in the wake of industry-wide labor disputes.
Oh, yeah.
As a result, many scripted seasons were shortened and some series pickups were scrapped. So, I mean, it does make sense as to why the writing jobs are declining, but it's like everything. It's like a spiral, I think you say, right? Like one thing led to another. Did
you read this bit? The entry-level positions 378 fewer positions.
Oh, yeah, I just was looking at that.
Yeah, 46% decrease. And that's the thing with, like, at least in traditional Hollywood, you used to be able to make a living
Yeah,
just writing
for shows.
for either shows or for movies, even if they didn't get picked up. You could, you could be tasked by a studio. It's like, hey, give us a treatment for, some new rom-com ideas, and people would write full scripts, and they would be bought. Like there's a whole economy of it.
Yeah.
For 10, 20, 30 grand, and you could do this a couple times a year. Sometimes, they didn't get picked up. Depends on the integrity or the muscle of the writer. But and some shows were never made. Lots and lots of shows were never made. But studios with a big chunk of their budget, of their company budget, would go towards material acquisition. And now, I was just playing around this morning with Gemini, Google Gemini, which I just love. And I got to tell you, there's a big part of me that, for as much as I fear the growth of AI, I do, because it's starting to upset everything. But
There are some positives and fun, not to interrupt.
Man, no, that just as an image generator, I can have an idea for something that would look neat for my Instagram picture, and I don't have to go out and photograph and set up the whole concept or get props built. I can just say what I want to see, and it makes it.
It's so cool.
And it's not exact, but
It's very, very close.
Like, you can do that with stories now.
And you can edit it if it doesn't look like what you had thought it might look like, and you can change things. Like this morning, weren't you just playing on your phone?
Yeah,
and you were writing something, and you wanted to have print on your airplane, and you wanted to make
the
it
print
bigger.
And
I mean, that's like.
You got to admit, it's kind of bananas, because what I told Gemini was, I want to see, and for those of you, anyone who's listening who's already into AI, not everybody is. I'm recognizing the fact that there are people who might listen to this who might be, I'm not necessarily saying my father's age, but like I've told you this morning, his fascination with what technology does is so far behind. Like there's a device that kind of sidesteps television. And instead of paying for cable, which some people still do, you buy this device, it's $300, and you can get every television channel in existence without a subscription. And it's somehow it accesses all of these things through the internet, which doesn't seem, I'm not a tech developer, but that doesn't seem horrendously remarkable given what we have, what AI
What's
can
available,
do.
yeah.
And I'm telling you, he was just astounded by it. Like I talk to him once a week. I call him Tuesday morning on my trip up to Flint. Oh, you're going to have to talk at a little bit at the end of this, because I'm going to have to find people a recipe, because I've been backing off it forever.
Okay.
He's been every week. He's like, Jay, I got this device, and I can see the Wings games now. I can see the LA Kings. I'm like, what do you give a shit about the LA Kings? We don't even like LA. What do you care? It's like, but the Wings. And then this other team that I never watched. I'm like, all right, but did I tell you about the time when I brought home I got a Garmin for Christmas because my stepmother got it for all the kids.
Okay.
And he didn't know what it was. And I'm like, this is how it works. You plug in where you're going, and it maps your route. And he just the level of how astounded he was. He's like, I don't believe this. This is encrypted. Like, what about maps? I'm like, well, those are over. I mean, you'll still see them for a while, but no one's going to use them. AI is kind of like that. And Gemini, because I didn't have a need to use it until recently, just for Instagram posts, I plugged in, what was it, a Grumman Grumman HU-16 seaplane, because it's a seaplane that I've always had an affinity for. I love this plane. But I thought to myself, if I ever made enough money with Honey, I would buy one of these seaplanes and I'd deck it out with yellow and black coloring and make it into a promotional vehicle and just fly to markets that were on the water. And I'm like, that's never going to happen. That's obscenely expensive. It's a whole other job learning to fly the plane. But this thing can make me the image.
Yeah.
And it did.
And you can, and it was really cool.
And just like you said, I had "Hey Honey" written on the wings, but I wanted it bigger. So after the first image, I just plugged in, "Hey, do this, modify this, give me a different angle." And it did it.
So amazing to me.
So as we bring that back to the conversation about writing, I know, just with ChatGPT, as we've talked about before, you can plug a concept into, I don't think it's quite at the level where it's going to give you nuanced storytelling, but it'll give you a framework. And that accelerates the speed with which content can be put out. And again, for anyone listening, I know I'm not breaking new ground here, but all we offer is another voice as to how to view your world. And for writers out there, or anyone in the creative space, whether or not you're using AI, really your place in the world is going to be kind of defined by how you create a unique experience. And with AI, it just got a little bit harder. I guess quite a bit harder. But this decline for new people writing, that's got to be tough. Even now, it's that's almost half of those jobs are now gone. So if you want to get in to being a writer, it just became twice as hard.
Yep.
So, but of course, this is the other reason why we never come down here, is because our connectivity sucks.
Yeah.
So this is Easter weekend. Hopefully, once Easter's over, we'll get a regular thing down at the library.
Yeah. Just a holiday today.
Are you connected? Okay. What else is on there that you wanted to chit chat about? Any news that's?
I think the biggest thing for me was the Blue Origin flight from earlier this week.
You got any stuff in development?
I was just clicking on TV development.
TV or movies?
TV.
You go ahead with TV.
I didn't figure out where to click on movies. I don't know why I clicked on TV. I don't watch a lot of TV. I didn't really read the dailies recently, so. Well.
We can talk about is what's in release right now. What is the name of this movie that I said looked interesting? It was way back from breakfast. The one with it's not Pedro Pascal. What's his name?
John Leguizamo.
John Leguizamo.
This movie called Bob Trevino Likes It.
Yeah. Give it. So I have not seen it. You haven't seen it either.
I haven't. No, I would like to.
Well, then just give us a rundown what it's about.
So my details could be a little bit off, but I've seen this trailer.
I'm going to make fun of them too.
I've seen this trailer before, and there's a girl, and her mom is, I would say, worse than a deadbeat dad, and doesn't have anything to do, doesn't have a role in her life, or doesn't have the role that she would like him to have in her life. And she looks up his name on the internet. I do not know. I cannot say how those two are connected. But anyway, she looks up her dad to see if she can find him, because I guess he's been non-existent in her life. And she comes up with, I think, another person with the same name. And that other person is played by John Leguizamo. And he starts to like her Facebook posts. And she's like, well, this is really interesting. This guy has the same name as my dad. But I don't think it's my dad, but maybe it could be. Maybe I will meet him. I'll send him a message and see if he's interested in meeting. And I think they meet, and she, it's not her dad, but he has the same name, and they develop a friendship. And I'd say it's more of, it's like, I mean, they develop a close friendship. That's what I'm looking for. And I don't know. I think the movie's just, that's what it's about. His wife is very skeptical. He's like, I don't know about meeting this girl. Are you sure you're not being catfished? Like, what's the deal? And he's like, no, I don't think so. I think she's just looking for, sort of something to, like, fill a hole in her life.
I'm really, like, I want to see this just so I can
Make fun of my description?
No, kind of, but I want to critique his interaction with his wife. Like, they're married, and he's like, are you being catfished?
Yeah.
If you're going to fuck around on me,
Yeah.
make sure she's a real girl.
Yeah. But I don't know. I think it would be like, an endearing movie, like, and critics are saying that his role in this movie is like career defining, which I always find hard to believe when people say that, when critics say that about actors and actresses, because a lot of these actors and actresses have been big names for a long time. So how all of a sudden is it career defining?
Well,
does that make sense?
It might be
to a point. I'm not
I think because he's front and center.
Oh,
and that's one.
Yeah.
Like he was in John Wick, but he was like a
I see what you're saying.
character.
Yeah, he's never been front and center, so maybe that's what it is.
Actually, he was front and center in one of his first movies called The Pest. Mm-hmm. Did you ever see it? Well, you wouldn't
I never heard of this.
It was a screwball comedy.
Okay.
But I mean, if he has like a dramatic, engaged character, the father figure, that's career defining. Well,
Okay.
That's a lot of film critics will put that stuff in commentary about an actor when they're a key player in a movie and they haven't done this type of role.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. He hasn't probably done this kind of a role before, so probably in this role but I'm sure in this role he's really, really great. And having not seen him like this before, everyone's like, like bowled over.
So,
which is why I want to see it, actually.
For anyone who's watching, we have a whole map of things to talk about here. The Cinema Dome preservation efforts, film developments regarding Sovereign. What else is in here? Forgotten. Ryan Cooper's Sinners, viewing formats, film tech. Box office performance for the amateur, which we're going to get into in our next episode. We went and saw that. We're going to dedicate a whole episode to that. The movie Warfare, Drop, and a whole bunch of other ones. But because we're in the building now and the connectivity is complete crap, it's going to be more of a limited conversation. But as I keep promising all of you that I'm going to do a honey-based recipe again, and trying to find one as we're talking that's worthwhile to fill you in on. Was there anything else you wanted to touch base on?
Well...
Nothing? Come on.
I don't know. I'll just think for a minute. I'm sad and sorry to say I think I missed the movie The Friend playing downtown at our local theaters.
You didn't see that with the dog?
No, I missed it, I think.
Oh, man.
It didn't play for very long unless I just missed. I think it's done. So I'm hoping I can find it on streaming somewhere because I really wanted to see that movie with Naomi Watts and the Big Great Dane and Bill Murray. Not that this is the movie that you would be interested in, but...
I like Great Danes.
No, not that movie. A different movie.
Okay.
I went to go see The Wedding Date. No, not The Wedding Date. The Wedding Banquet yesterday. And this is a movie about two gay couples that are friends. Two are boys and two are girls. Mm-hmm. And the girl couple wants to maybe is trying to get pregnant to have a baby. It's not working out. The gay couple, it seems one wants to get married and one doesn't want to get married, but there's never really been any discussion about this. Anyway, the preview is very interesting. I think that the preview didn't do the movie justice. Like
we talked about this before.
Did we talk about this?
No, we talked about how previews, like, it's hit or miss. There's a whole art to having a good trailer made. And, like, it used to be trailers didn't give away the entire movie.
Yeah.
And now they kind of do. And it's almost a strategy to, like, hyper categorize the markets.
Yeah.
So people could say, hey, like, I know, actually, The Amateur was a good example.
Yes.
Because I think they said in the trailer there were 3 people he was after. And in the trailer, it shows him dispatching 2 of them. So that's half the movie. That's part of the reason why you watch.
Yep.
And if we look at trailers from 30 years ago, they didn't do that.
No, not at all. Not at all.
You wanted to know how things turned out. So I personally think that would have drawn in more people because you're curious. Like,
yeah. Exactly.
Who's he going after? Who are these people? Why'd they do it? Does he get them? How's he get them? And now they're like, okay, for anybody who wants to see a revenge flick and something spy related, here's pretty much how it's going to go down. Give us your money, which just seems it's almost like more work to be lazier. But I'm sure maybe the metrics work out in the studio.
I think it must work out. I mean, this is the perfect example. We went to go see this movie. We were interested in it,
Well, we like spy stuff. And
that's true.
You like Remy Malek, but
I like cultural locations.
Totally.
And those kind of movies go everywhere and all over all the time. And so it's just fun to have these people, quote, act like normal people, but really they're like undercover for some big operation or, I enjoy that. Yeah, I do. But anyway, back to the wedding banquet, just real quick. I just want to tell if there's anybody out listening that is interested in seeing this movie but on the fence, I wouldn't necessarily go by what the preview shows. I thought that it, like the first half, the storyline picked up in the second half. It just like there was more details and more like relationship. I don't want to call it drama, but kind of drama than I would have thought. And it just had a nice ending. What I wasn't expecting. I just wanted to go see it because it was like a gray and rainy Saturday, and I thought like it'd be fun to go see a movie. This is what's out and available at the time I'm available, and so let me go see this. And I was pleasantly surprised.
I got to tell you, I'm for stuff in the theater now. It's probably because I'm older and more of a grump. I'll admit it. I don't care. It's really got to push a lot of buttons for me. One of them's got to be location. It's got to be actors who I give a crap about. And I got to tell you, like, formulaic just doesn't cut it for me anymore.
Yeah.
And
I would say this one was not formulaic.
Well, even if it's not, it not being formulaic doesn't cut it anymore. I like hearing, I'll tell you what has gained more ground for me in importance with a movie is person-to-person buzz, being referred to it by a person.
Okay,
I don't care what's on, like, I can see all kinds of marketing, but if somebody says to me, you got to see this, that's different. That's like a straight up, like, I'm like, all right, drop everything, we're going to see it right now.
Yep.
And that's, I think that's the mark of a great filmmaker, is when people talk about it to you. What was the last one we said, like?
Black Bag.
That for you, or for our friend Dave, Heat for him. Because he'd never seen, I'm sorry, I know I'm on a Heat kick, but he likes movies, and this came out while he's a little younger than me, but this movie's been out for 30 years, and it was a big hit, and he never heard of it. And I remember, I'm like, it's a fantastic, it's something you're going to always remember. It's a fantastic. It does everything. And he's like, I'm really looking forward to this. And as we walked out, remember, I turned to him. He was like, that was amazing. That was awesome. I'm like, I fucking told you. I told you. Okay, recipe.
Yeah.
Finally.
That sounds good.
If anyone's been waiting for it, finally.
Yeah, did you find a good one?
I think so.
Okay.
I'm gonna try and read through this because it's a little involved. It says here you can make 2 delicious recipes from 1 cup of, hazelnuts. 0 waste. Hazelnut milk ingredients. That's, okay. 1 cup hazelnuts soaked overnight and drained. 2 cups water. I didn't even look to see if there better be honey in this. What a jerk.
You found a recipe with no honey?
I don't believe this. Are you kidding me? You know what? I'll tell you what. I'll give you this recipe. It says to you, optional. There it is. Okay, honey.
Okay.
Hazelnut milk, 1 cup hazelnuts soaked overnight and drained, 4 cups water, sweetener of choice, honey, maple syrup, or dates. We all know what you're going to use.
Yes.
Hey Honey is hazelnut honey, or regular. So blend the soaked and drained hazelnuts with water until smooth. Strain the mixture through a nut bag or fine mesh strainer into a bowl, squeezing out as much of the liquid as possible. This is your hazelnut milk. So you're going to have to get that material. So whenever we read these ingredients, you got to remember some of the things involved to actually produce the product. You have to have the appropriate utensils, and mesh strain material like a cheesecloth is necessary for that. Sweeten the milk to the taste of desired, so you may need to add more of whatever sweetener you're using. Soak the milk in the fridge for up to 5 days. Shake well before using, as it may separate over time. And the second part to this is dark chocolate hazelnut spread. This, I'm not going to lie, this looks pretty damn good.
Can I see a photo?
Well, it's a running video. So you take the leftover hazelnut pulp from making the hazelnut milk, and then 4 ounces or about 115 grams of dark chocolate chopped up, half cup of powdered sugar, but I'll bet you can use, you probably do want to use powdered sugar, half cup hazelnut oil. Actually, you could probably use the honey there. You could probably add a little bit of the hazelnut honey, but try and stick to this because if it's oil, it's going to be for texture. Half cup hazelnut oil or coconut oil melted, half teaspoon vanilla extract, and a pinch of salt. So check this out. You're going to melt the dark chocolate in a heat-proof bowl over a pot of simmering water, so it's a double boiler method, or in a microwave for 30-second bursts. Personally, don't even do that. Stick it on the stove. You're always going to get a better product. Set aside for it to cool a little bit, and then in a food processor, you're going to combine the hazelnut pulp, melted dark chocolate, cocoa powder, powdered sugar, hazelnut or coconut oil, the vanilla extract, and the salt, and then blend until the mixture becomes smooth and creamy. Pause to scrape down the sides of the bowl as needed to ensure all ingredients are well incorporated. Hold on one sec here. I lost it. And then taste for sweetness. If it does say if it's too thick, you can add a little more hazelnut or coconut oil to achieve a desired consistency, but I would start with a little more. The more nut pulp you use, it's going to be thicker, because otherwise the adding oil is, the long and the short of it is you're going to thin it out. Should keep for up to about a week, and keep it in an airtight container. That actually sounds pretty good. Wish you had a blender of some sort.
I do not.
I know you don't. Is that it? Do we have anything else, or you want You want to hit the pause button and then go on to...
Hit the pause button, close this one, and start a new one.
So when you tune in a week from now, we're going to talk to you about The Amateur. And it'll have already been out for several weeks at this point, but if you haven't seen it, look it up. Back to you later. Hugs and kisses. Toodaloos.
Thanks for listening. Bye.